Cindy doesn't seem to be that sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Hi.
Hi, hello Cindy, good to see you guys. Stan, good to see you.
Yeah. thank
And
you.
Charles. Okay, let's go on to approval of the minutes then.
Yeah, I had one minor.
Cindy doesn't seem to be that sure.
Uh-oh.
We're back to that
We're gonna
ghost.
revisit it.
Hi, hello Cindy, good
Just very minor, line 159, it still references 4 instead of 3. You made the first correction in that bullet, but it's just referring to the green cones. There's 3 instead of 4.
What line is it?
159,
Got an extra one?
on 157 it was corrected, it just didn't follow through to 159, but it's just minor.
Anything else on the amended minutes? I will make a motion to approve the amended minutes for the regular select board meeting of 3 July 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, financial report.
So in the packet that I put at your seat, the revenues are there. They were not in the packet. Sorry about that. There are no departments right now that are significantly out of budget. I do have a review scheduled with Steve when he gets back from vacation next week. We've got a couple of lines in the Public Works Department and Buildings and Grounds Department that we need to go over. But they're not major impact items. Legal budget is significantly over, right? That'll be covered by contingency, any overage. Did you have a question, Wendy?
So you're not concerned with Parks and Rec being at 28%?
No, not yet.
Okay.
No. We still have big weeks, vacation weeks coming up. We still have the rest of this summer. We're about halfway through the summer. So I'm not significantly concerned. Remember that a lot of especially the parks revenues come from the boats, and a significant amount of that
There's a
comes
month
from the
lag.
Resort
Right.
Association. So there's a lag, and there's a true up at the end of the year
Right.
as well. So right now we're tracking from Brooks' standpoint, we're tracking where we have been previously. And the summer camp numbers, other than she's already told us about Summit, that is the only camp program that's under budget right now.
This may not be the right time to suggest it
Mhm.
with everything else that you're doing with the new financial
Yep.
programming, but is it worth doing like the previous year to date, just for comparison?
Sure, if you want that, I can add that.
If you guys think just, so we look at
Sure.
what's happening year over year?
Mhm.
We have this newfangled program that's supposed to
Can
be
do
able to
anything,
Well,
right?
pull all these things together.
Absolutely
I'm
nothing
joking.
to do with the new program.
Right.
Because all of that
It was
information
before,
is in the other
right,
program.
Oh,
and it didn't
So
migrate.
it's not migrated,
oh,
so,
well,
but I'll figure out
how to start it for
something
next year?
for certain
Yeah.
years
Okay.
that are certain line items that you want to know,
Cool.
similar to what I did with the water and sewer billings.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Mhm.
It looked like post office is expenses tracking higher than it should at this, we're in 7 months into the year.
Yeah, we had the timeout for Tony and utilized part-timers, a part-time or more. So it is slightly ahead, but that's another one that I will review with Steve.
All right, so we're 2/3 of the way through the
We're
budget.
49% through the budget this week.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at revenues, right, sorry.
Oh, I thought it was 66.
That's revenues.
No, 66 would be September,
No, I mean, sorry,
October.
real-time
sorry.
budget versus the budget on here, never mind.
Yeah.
We're talking two different things.
Okay,
And solid waste collection looked
Mhm.
high too. 69% spent.
Mhm. Yeah, I will check that.
Other than that, I'm okay.
Anything else, Wendy, on the financials?
Nope.
I'm good. Alrighty, we shall move on. Department head updates.
Do you want me to go get them? or
Unless you
They're
think-
gonna come in at 3 if you.
Oh, they were
wanna
gonna
just
do it
pass.
afterward. All right, let's save it to when they're, because I
Yeah.
think well, Megan was gonna report to us, so,
She is, yep,
okay. Yeah,
that's under old business.
Gotcha.
But I got those new business items that if we can go over those now. So the first one
Mhm.
was the acceptance of the FEMA
Mm-hmm,
Fire Assistance to Firefighter Grant
Yep.
Award. I think we mentioned that at the last meeting. But we did not have the actual paperwork in front of you.
yep,
I've included the paperwork from the FEMA site. So, what we need is a board vote to accept this amount of 71,352.38. These numbers track with the 72,000 up to 72,000 that we accepted at town meeting. So
So we
we're,
basically saved $70,000.
we saved $71,352.
Good deal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. This is a FEMA grant. Third year that we've applied for it and finally we're successful for the airbags.
finally got one.
The town share is $3,567, so.
Okay, so why don't I go ahead and make a motion to accept the FEMA grant? This is the fiscal year 2023 Assistance to Firefighters Grant to the town of Waterville Valley in the amount of $71,352.38.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Okay. Now the municipal bond sale.
So I put the sale documents in your packets. The bond sale was very good. We got a 3.25% TIC rate of return on our $250,000 note. So that was an excellent result given the current climate with interest rates.
And just a 5-year
Um,
loan.
Just a 5-year
Yeah, and
loan. This is
for the record, but yeah,
ambulance.
the ambulance.
This is for the ambulance purchase, the first portion,
Of the 700 and
500.
500,000
for the.
I thought the other one was 700.
The other one's 750.
Right.
So I need a board vote to accept this and to enter into the agreement and sign the agreement. I need to go up to my office because I did not bring it down with me, but I do have the forms. We need to get those back to bond counsel. So if you're okay with that rate and that term. Any questions or
No.
anything?
No,
Okay,
I move we accept it.
the rate of 3.25% on $250,000, a 5-year loan from the New Hampshire Municipal Bond Bank. I will second that. All in favor?
Right.
Aye.
all right, and I'll get that paperwork before you leave.
Okey-doke. Solar energy systems exemption.
Yep,
Very pleased with myself.
Wendy's gonna recuse herself. This is the Blaze Family Trust. This is an application that we received, I think, last week, Sharon, or early this week, whatever. Oh, no, the 6th. Yeah. So it's the same as the prior solar exemption. This is with the changed state statute
Mhm.
that the entire amount of the value of the solar energy system can now be exempted for property tax purposes, and that's what this application is for.
So how much is that for?
In this case, I think it was, do you remember how much it was, Sharon? Do you have that there?
I.
I want to say it was $5,000.
Yes,
Exemption or
The amount of the exemption, yeah. Is it on that sheet?
I don't have it on.
it's not on the application.
No, I just gave you the cover sheet. Is there a property record card?
Well, it's not on the property record card.
Because it
yet,
got taken off.
Because it hasn't.
Oh, it didn't get put
It
on.
didn't get put on there.
It's not there yet, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not there yet, yeah.
The new
So-
law on the
So
form.
whatever the amount is, it will be exempted. I believe, I
Per
want to
state law.
say that it was a few $1,000s. I don't remember. Do you know the amount?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But it
I'll
comports
get
with
that
state,
for you
but
and
it's,
send you an email
right,
on it.
it's consistent with state law
Yes,
that this exemption. be
it's
granted.
100% exemption.
Okay,
So I will send you the
Okay.
amount.
okay, and
And move we accept it?
I will second the motion. All in favor? Aye and
Aye.
aye, so 2-0, and would you like to would you like to unrecuse yourself? Okay. Review and approve donation to the Doug DeCenzo, I just say,
Decenzo.
he says DeCenzo.
Mhm.
Camp fund, I think that was $741.
$715. Yep. This is an annual fundraiser that the rec department does through the dunk tank for the family day over the 4th of July weekend. They raised $715, and the charity that they had selected for this year is the Doug DeCenzo Camp Fund. It's used regionally,
Mhm,
basically within the SAU towns.
right,
In
we did this last
area.
year, same, I think.
I think we used
Yeah.
Same charity.
Same charity
Yeah.
for the,
Yeah.
for the.
Yeah.
For the dunking. Okay. Do you have a comment or question?
Nope.
Nope. So I move that,
So it would be to accept the
to
donation
accept the donation. and
amount and then dedicate it
Right.
to the.
So I move that we accept the donation of $715, monies that were collected on the July 4th Carnival Dunk Tank fundraiser, and that we apply those funds, or that we donate those funds to the Doug DeCenzo Camp Fund.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And just like to point out for the folks at home that this fund is also used by children here in Waterville Valley. And this year alone, we got over $2,000 returned to families here. in
So they can use it to pay
So they
for
can
the
use for our summer camp.
children to go to our summer camps.
So appreciate that. Thank you.
Alrighty. So now we move on to Mr. Burko's request for a warrant article for town meeting 2025 on the question of granting an easement, an aerial easement to Tyrell LLC, I think it is, for the gondola.
Yeah, I have submitted this. So Alan came in,
Mhm.
talked to me about it. I asked him to submit the email, which he did,
Mhm.
to you, just explaining what his request was. And so I forwarded that information to town council.
Mhm.
The way that we've done this in the past is to review it for whether or not it's illegal,
Mhm.
something we can in fact put on the warrant and you know, something that the town can actually do. And then
Either the select
the
board
word
or
either the select
or
board. So
town meeting.
this, it is not my intent, was
Right.
not my intent today for you to decide yes or no, or to even.
No,
forward
no, I
it
think we need to
to
wait.
The planning board, let's wait for.
There are a couple
town
different
council.
statutes that
Correct,
could apply here,
yes,
whether it's
So-
prudential.
Yep.
affairs,
There were
Or
several things that he
manage-
pointed out in his email.
yeah, manage property.
Town council has that, and we will take it up at the
Well,
next.
it seems to me there's
meeting.
two issues. One is the aerial easement,
Mhm.
and the other he raised is the village road.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that would not be an easement, that would be a sale
Abandonment.
or a,
That would be a sale of
Yeah.
land,
Yeah.
which is covered by 4114A,
Right,
if
so-
you want it to be.
yeah, so there's two different issues
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I assume he'd like to have both of them brought before the town on the warrant. I don't know if they should be
Mm-hmm.
a separate.
I would think so. I mean, there could be two different statutes at play here. I mean, clearly in statute, the select board has the power to buy and sell and manage town property,
If given it by town meeting, which they have.
which they have, and we've
Mhm.
used that.
Yes,
But in order to buy, because money needs to be appropriated, we've gone to town meeting
correct.
to
Which
get,
you have to do.
which we have
To
to do.
appropriate the money.
Right, but the sale, I
Mm-hmm.
think we have the power without going to
Correct.
Town
Under
meeting,
4114.
on the 4114, but so that's one thing, and then there's the whole
35.
question of, you're right, the other issue is aerial easement, it's not even
Mhm.
mentioned. And
Right.
that, and that's really the contention, I
Mhm.
think that Alan is raising here, that it does not come under your power to manage the prudential affairs
Mhm.
of the town, or under what should be meant by sale, buying and selling of, and managing town property.
Mhm.
That's a whole nother class, and that's why I think we need to wait.
Yep.
And see what town council says.
Yeah.
And then we can decide whether we,
Yeah, and then
what we wanna do.
I represented to Alan that once we got that recommendation back from
Mhm.
council, that you guys, we'd sit down at another meeting.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
talk
they're
about.
both significant issues for the town,
Sure.
you know, and
Mhm.
on the transfer of Village Road. If the town wanted to do that, is that just a transfer or is it a sale to Terrell? I mean, it's gonna be valuable land, so.
Mhm.
I think that's something that has to get
I
considered
I
as
would,
well.
I would think a
Sure.
sale or other considerations.
Sure.
Depending on the price and all, I
So
mean,
town council will give us an opinion on both of those things.
Yeah, on the wording, specific number one is the wording. Well, no, number
and one
one,
is
do you have the right to
Yeah.
do the aerial
without,
easements
without,
without town meeting?
with a public hearing,
Yes.
but not getting town
Right.
meeting approval.
Right.
That's the,
Right.
And then number two, the wording that Alan provided, is that.
right, and then whether or
Yeah.
not we want to move forward with that as a
Correct.
board, or whether we would tell Alan that he needs to do it as
Do a
a
petition.
warrant to get it in front of town meeting.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes, Cindy, I haven't been ignoring you, just trying to get it
Just
all
a
out there.
question, a general question, if this is accepted, and let's just pretend it would be. When would Tyrell start digging up and utilizing, have they given you any sort of time frame at all with regards to this?
No.
No.
Nothing other than what they've said
Okay.
Public.
in public.
Mhm.
They're still going through the permitting process. That they needed a letter of intent from the town to show support for the gondola project, and on the basis of what's in the master plan
Mhm.
approved by the planning board in 2022, and then what's in zoning as a permitted right, the select board sent that letter saying that its intention is to support it, but it's going to depend upon public input, public hearing, I
It's
think.
non-binding, and we didn't bind ourselves.
But
That's good.
we're willing for them to continue the process for them, but we were thinking about it in terms of a public hearing.
Mhm.
Not a town meeting vote, so that's what's at issue here. I think that the point that Alan has raised. But it's still several years off, we have no document in front of us in terms, legal
Okay.
document in
So
terms
we
of
have
it.
no lead time as to the transition of any of this.
I think the last I heard was the Race Center presentation by Jane Sununu. What was it, 3 to 5 years or something like that?
Yes, at least, as much as 2 years for the permitting.
right,
run its course. There's like a half a dozen integrated projects.
right. It's all
Most
right,
involving just the mountain, but the
Right.
gondola permeates all. And they thought that could be 1 to 2 years, just that process. And
Right.
then, once you're there, and then, quite frankly, by the way, it was a well-attended meeting.
it was, yeah,
And, lots of good questions afterwards. And, but a lot of details. First off, Tim has got a great, vision for the mountain. And he expanded boundary and all the other things,
Mhm.
okay, and look what they've done with the Green Peaks, fantastic. Lots of details lacking on redesign of town square and what happens there and how it happens. Oh, and there's been a lot of change of thinking in there, so a lot more to learn on that, and,
Yeah.
I commend you for at least getting the public input, but we should have a say in this one, this is a biggie. Significant, as you said.
okay, yeah. Any other comments on this particular issue? Okay. So we'll hear from town council and then we'll put it on the agenda for discussion.
Yep.
For further discussion.
Yep.
After we hear from town council.
Mhm.
I don't think there's a particular big rush on this, other than if we need to get it on the warrant.
Well,
For 2025.
Alan's had a comment in there that, not knowing who will constitute a select board in the future was one of his reasons to wanting to take it up now, so that it's on the record. In his opinion, it was on the record that it's gonna be a town vote, is, his opinion. Not, so that it's in writing for future,
Mhm,
board
mhm,
makeups, I guess.
mhm.
That was clear.
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll
Yeah,
try to
yeah.
meet, yeah, no, I think we'll try to meet it in terms of a potential or possible warrant article for 2025. I think that's the timeline.
Yeah.
That's all I meant that.
Okay.
We still got a little bit of time before that needs to be. Seems like we just finished that.
July.
Yeah. Give us a little bit of time. All right. If there's nothing further on that, shall we move to department head update? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Charles.
Sorry, I'm trying to follow, the sale of the village roadland, is that connected to the big 10-year plan or to the gondola?
Well, it's both, because if you look at the conceptual plan, which is the last thing we've seen from them, they briefed the planning board and the select board, and I think the town as well, and one of their race center highlights, yeah, it would have to be both because it fits with their whole concept, and the gondola would go over that piece of land, and so they'd need an easement from the owner, or if they own it, then that, obviously that easement issue goes away. Good, okay. Would you prefer old business or department head updates at this point? We've got about 10 minutes before we get the public hearing.
Old business would be awesome, I think.
Well, then let's go with awesome.
Okay.
So,
Old business, wastewater treatment facility, we had the third meeting regarding the CMOM portion of the wastewater treatment facility project. We have now a revised draft of our response to EPA. And we are very close to being able to submit that document officially to EPA and the state DES. As you know, we were a few months overdue on that report. We got the extension from the EPA. This will bring us, Black and Veatch has worked very hard at this very quickly. And they have prepared the document. Dylan and I have been through it page by page with them. And everybody is in agreement as to what it says. The CMOM is our ongoing maintenance and operations plan for the collection system around town, not the plant itself. But that is a new part of our permit and we have to do that. So, we had to submit a progress report to the EPA, which we missed by a couple of months in the transition of the engineering firms. So we are catching up on the requirement right now with the EPA. So that part is very good, and I will let you know when we submit the final
So you're thinking like
the report.
end of August type of frame?
Yeah,
roughly?
if not before.
Okay.
I mean, they had just a few revisions that they were gonna make, and
Okay.
I don't know if it'll go to DES first and then on to EPA, but I think we're gonna send it to them simultaneously. It also is important because this is all of the base work for the Northern Borders Regional Commission grant that we've received. Received a 50-50 grant from Northern Borders. And that's a $500,000 project, which is the implementation of what we do in this report to the EPA, what we tell them we're gonna do to go out and inspect the lines and put a camera into them and do an assessment of the conditions of
It's a big
all
deal.
of the lines. It's a big project. So by having this work that Black and Veatch is doing now, it's gonna form the basis of the work that we do under the grant program.
And
So
the grant's half of that, right?
the grant
50%?
is 50-50.
So two hundred.
Yeah, so two
250,000.
hundred and 50,000 is the town share. Yes, Dan.
Mark, and Black and Beach, have they reissued the overall project plan, i.e. what you used a couple of years ago to say this is gonna be a $40 million endeavor?
They're working on that right
Still in
now.
process.
So that's the second part. We have a meeting scheduled in person with Black and Veatch engineers to be here on site on August 5th. And they are well into the
Various
basis of
design,
design
yeah.
report again. And I'd say maybe halfway through that process. But they're way ahead of their timeline that they presented to the board to catch up. So we're very optimistic on that
Still
side
looking
as
at this
well.
fall.
They are looking at this fall. They already have given us 5 different designs to look at and to consider. And our town staff is reviewing all of the technical aspects of each one of those different designs. And we're in progress to get a final recommendation on the design that they recommend that we build by I think it's November on the timeline, mid-November, but they're well on their way to getting that done. So they're, and so far that's been very positive. We've had, and they've met with staff over at the plant at least 3 different times. And I've been involved in 2 other overall meetings. So they're working hard. And part of the August 5th meeting will also be current operations. They have been working with Dylan
Right.
on some recommendations for keeping the current plant running efficiently while we build the new plant.
Right, which is a big part of this as well, that,
Large part.
but, yeah.
Yep.
Cindy, you had a comment, a question?
Yeah, does this will this new plan include all the properties that are on septic systems at the present time?
It'll have capacity to do that.
To tie in,
Mhm.
okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We are designing the plant for full build out. And including, we've captured a lot of the additional requirements or all of the additional requirements from the conceptual plan
Mhm.
for the center of town as well. And those are design considerations. We may not build every single piece of it right now. But there will be the ability to expand it. If as new development happens, if it happens. So we'll build it large enough to handle whatever is.
And hopefully that's a lot less than 42 million.
And hopefully, I mean, they are looking at options now that could potentially save us significant amounts of money. In the construction of the new plant.
Good,
Yep.
thank you.
All right, I think rather than moving on to a new topic, we're just a couple minutes away from our 3 o'clock public hearing.
Yeah, let me just do one
So if you've
department
got
thing.
something
and
in you
for
want to
2
get in,
minutes.
yep,
So summary on our progress on the statistical update project.
yeah,
Sale inspections and qualifications are complete. Analysis is complete. The quality control is what's going on right now, so they pass all of their initial analysis through a quality control process to verify new values. They're going to be hopefully have us the new values, Sharon, right, the first week of August. July 31st, that half week there.
Next week,
So
yeah.
next week, so that's about 12 days over time, but they're doing okay. They're in the ballpark. So and they are still on track to have everything finalized and all of the reviews complete in the month of August, so that we have all the new values set and approved by you by September 1st.
right.
So we are still tracking on that schedule.
And within that
So-
process, they will have hearings.
We'll have hearings and,
Right.
yes, so the July 31st information to the board, approved by the board, mailed out to property owners. And then in the hearings will occur between August 15th and August 20th as needed. And that will include at least one weekend set of
It's
hearings.
for people to come in
For
and
people to
and
come in or call in.
call in
They
about
try to do
the
it by
value,
phone.
right?
Um,
Okay.
And then, as I said, the MS1, the final valuations set by the September 1 deadline.
To get it to
So-
PRA, right?
I will forward you the values when I get them. If you want a special meeting to discuss anything, that would be next week. So just, keep that in mind. And I'll get those values to you as soon as I can. Did I miss anything?
Okay. So it is now 3 PM, actually. 3 AM, thank you, 3 PM, 3 PM. Minute past actually, so I'd like to move to opening public hearing on the municipal solid waste regulations and the changes that town staff and select board are contemplating. Did you, as the chair of the MSW working group, did you want to say anything about it, Wendy?
No, but Erit is the chair. I'm the liaison.
Oh, okay,
Just
Yeah,
for the
it's-
record.
sorry,
It's okay.
apologize to Eric.
No, no worries.
When and if they get back from Greenland, the last I saw, they're looking at Iceland.
No, Greenland.
No,
Green.
oh, they're now in Iceland,
Oh,
they
oh,
moved
oh,
over, all
Greenland,
right.
right.
Who's that?
Eric and John,
Oh,
they went on a tour up that part of the world.
Research station.
Yeah, pretty nice.
But no.
Nothing
as a
further?
liaison, no.
Okay, so the public hearing is open. Does anybody have any comments about, yes? Hello, Patty.
For this,
Yes,
my first question is, what is the purpose of this regulation, is what the title calls it? Is it to replace the ordinances that are there now under the selectmen's ordinance? I think there were 2 sections about.
Yes.
municipal-
yes, there are a couple ordinances that,
So-
yeah, go ahead, okay.
Yeah, so this is the implementing regulations. We have not had anything in writing that that we could follow as an organization to implement the two ordinances. So the ordinances that we have involve the dumpster enclosures and then solid waste disposal overall. These regulations were to expand on it and give us the day-to-day operational
So
regulations.
those would stay as is.
They are going to
For
stay as,
The ordinances, yeah, no
the
change.
ordinances do not change.
There are a few spots where.
Hold on, wait a minute, I'm gonna clarify.
So. The dumpster enclosure one it would have to be
That's true.
updated, but as far as the disposal.
Oh, the facing.
Inside.
yes,
The gate,
inside
the front
gate.
side, that's
So we
correct.
we will have to propose a change to the enclosure ordinance
Okay,
For
to
town meeting.
implement these. But again, if those are not approved by town meeting or they get amended from what these regulations are the select board's policy regulations, they're not, they're able to be changed.
right.
And we have to fit what is in the ordinance. So I'm sorry, yes, we took the front, the gate of the enclosures.
The
In these
requirement.
regulations took them off as long as the face is not towards a public way.
Right.
So we would have to work on that. So
Okay.
there would still be screening. But sometimes those gates become problematic for day-to-day operations.
Yeah.
Opening them and that kind of thing.
Right, in the winter, they have to come.
In the
off.
winter,
I
yeah.
got that.
Yeah.
In the section. What, just in general, I found it difficult to read because of the formatting.
Okay,
I don't know if that can be helped.
that can be changed in whatever.
The headings were bullet points and then there were. A, B, C under them, 1, 2, 3 under them. It would help if the headings weren't bullet
Mhm.
points, but headings. And then underneath them were numbers and then indented. If there was an A, B, C after that, those were further indented. So it's clear the
Mhm.
different sections. I found it very hard to read.
Okay,
Very hard.
There was one section towards the end, a little bit before attachment A, where it talks about. Starts with the town will construct, maintain and operate a central MSW collection site. So I was kind of confused on why that said will construct. I mean, if this is
Because
something that's gonna be a
that's-
regulation.
Yeah, so at the time when I was making the changes down here,
the transfer station, we must by law. Have the transfer station if that's the way
Right.
we decide to collect our trash. So that says will because we have to do it.
Right, but in effect, we do have an area that's gated and manned already.
Yeah.
So it might be in a different location or look a little different. but
Yes.
We still have it already, so I was confused
Right.
by the will.
We will construct and maintain it. Yeah,
Okay.
that is required under our permit by notification.
But the point is maybe it will be maintained. The transfer station has been constructed.
It
Will
is.
be maintained.
Yes, it
Right.
is. Yeah,
Yeah, I think Patty's talking
The
about tents
wall,
and you're talking
yeah.
about the legal.
Right,
okay,
Right, I'm talking
Yeah.
about the tents.
Yeah.
okay,
Is it
we'll
the
fix the
same-
tents.
we have
Yes.
it. It has been
Yes.
constructed,
Yes.
but it
Right.
will be maintained.
Got it.
Yeah,
I was taking it like we will do, we
Right,
shall.
the shall,
that.
right,
Right.
but
Yes,
as Patty, I
okay,
think.
we will fix them.
was-
Shall.
But after that, two sentences, it has a number 4, number 5, number 6, but there's no number 1, 2, and 3 anywhere.
Okay. Oh, we'll fix the numbering.
Yeah, and it looked like that section was taken from the ordinance. Because number 5, number 6, then talk about this ordinance, any person who violates this ordinance.
Yeah.
So. It's just very confusing, because some of this again was taken sentence by sentence from one of the ordinances, so it
Yeah.
was very confusing to me.
Mhm.
Is this replacing it? Um,
But we need to clean up the language, make it a little bit more comprehensible.
right, so that.
And the
reading it,
formatting.
It's clear. I think it could be just formatting it. And
Mhm.
I would like to see that it's not repeated in two places. So if the ordinance that has the same language is still there, that we don't also have it here. In case it has to change, because we saw, I think it was in the permits where we had permitting for construction in the zoning ordinance and it was in the selectmen's
Right.
ordinance, and then we had to go back in and change both of them.
Well, this is really an enabling regulation, and I would want it in both, because if it does change in the ordinance, it will need to change here. And so, we'll work on that
Okay.
and figure out exactly how to do that, but this regulation will need to be modified anytime the ordinances change.
Okay,
So I would want a review of this.
Well, yeah, I think you want some sort of
Every time.
citation, whether it's the exact language or
Yeah,
just,
and maybe we'll just
citation.
quote it
Right.
exactly as being taken from the ordinance. That way, if it changes in the
Okay.
ordinance, it can change here.
right.
So,
I have a few more other questions. Should I continue or
Yeah.
should I let somebody else?
No, please.
There's a section, again, I'm moving backwards, before that big section I was just talking about. Where it talks about any enclosures built prior to July are grandfathered in. But the public works director or designee will inspect the enclosures annually.
mhm.
Is there a time limit that if there are any issues found that someone has to address it?
Those are
Address
in
the
the ordinance,
That's in the
the
ordinance?
enforcement provisions are in the ordinance.
Talks about, under fees and permits. There's a section talks about fees and permits. And there are three criteria. One is property owner.
Mhm.
Two is proof of residency. And number three is car registered in one's name from the town.
Mhm.
I'm not sure how you can have a car registered in the town if you don't have one or two.
Or actually,
You-
resident.
No, you can have non-resident registrations in town.
You can?
Yes, you can.
Property owners.
But if they're not a property owner or a resident, because you have one or two, you have one as property owner,
They do not have to be,
a property owner or a resident?
They can have a,
It'd be a renter.
resident registration.
They can be a
there, sign an
renter.
affidavit, has to do that.
Yep.
And they, let's say, for example, there's a property that's owned by a family trust that their family owns. The trustees could write a letter, a statement to that, for that individual to register as a non-resident,
Okay,
be able to attach to that property.
okay, yeah, that makes sense, thank you.
We also did proof of residency as being, electric bills or things like that for people who are, not for residency though. Well,
no, not for residency, but for purposes
Yeah.
of issuing them
For-
with the stickers.
for our side,
Yeah.
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 No, it's okay. No, but for our side, so that way people who are doing a long-term rental or things like that are still, and that's not their permanent residence, are still able to use the transfer station and get a sticker. So,
And is there a difference between a permit and a sticker? When we talk about permit, so
so,
it says permit in this document, so
so
I assume it's the sticker?
yes, so we are moving away from a
Sticker.
sticker. It'll
Yeah.
be-
Make it more confusing, going to placards.
Yeah, we're gonna go to a placard, so that way, it's affixed to the rearview mirror. And people who own multiple cars can take it from one to the other instead of having it.
Instead of having to give them
Yeah.
multiple
Like
stickers.
stickers when you buy a new car.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's something we've been planning, I think that was
January first.
for January first. It was like, let's do the stickers were the quick way to do it right away.
Okay.
And then, but we always had in the back, in our planning that we probably gonna move to a placard system.
So just a little bit before that section where it talks about property owner, proof of residency, et cetera, it talks about the town of Waterville Valley citizens. So in that case, citizens means any of those three things,
Yes.
Mhm.
and I'm getting
Really?
close, I'm getting close to the
We,
end to my
we
question.
will fix the wording when we go through the formatting. I understand the confusion. We will pick better
Okay.
terms. Yeah.
Permitted users. or
Yes.
something.
Annual cleanup weekend, I was
Yeah.
just, my question is that different from cleanup day that the rec organizes? Is this something else that's gonna be new or?
New or
what is
different,
that?
or what the mountain does?
Could you read it, Patty? I don't have that.
Annual
Page.
cleanup weekend
Yeah.
is the heading. The Public Works Department will be sponsoring an annual cleanup weekend in May each year for the town residents and taxpayers.
No, I think that's because you could do brush on a different, we trying to capture the annual cleanup day.
Yeah, we'll define that better.
Yeah,
But
weekend's
the
not a good-
intent is we have the cleanup day that the rec does, and there's brush that's put out all over the place. And remember, we're open on Sundays, so that weekend, we can take it, but we'll work on the.
You don't even need annual
Yeah,
cleanup.
Annual cleanup, yeah. Definition.
You guys are hot. You can open the window back there. Don't mean to make it stuffy.
I think the facility hours, it should say the current operating hours, and they say subject to change,
Subject to change.
Okay.
subject to change.
One last question.
Sure.
Sure.
Near the beginning of the document, it says use, I'm not sure if it's use generally or use generally, semicolon permit decal. That heading confused me. I had to look at that, and I'm still not sure what the heading,
We'll do that as part of the.
but it
formatting.
talks about the facility will be open for the town of Waterville Valley residents, property owners, and resort guests. Can we clarify what resort
Yeah.
guests mean? Does it
Yeah.
mean
Change the
someone?
wording.
Yeah.
We'll change the wording. I was thinking for rental properties, Airbnbs and things like that, they're here for the resort, so resort.
Because a resort guest could be someone who comes to ski for the day.
Yeah, but the solid waste collection system is for them as well.
Yeah.
I mean, because of the transient population, we just have to figure out a better way to say that.
Now, how do they get in?
They don't get in, but if they're staying at a condo or whatever, they can use the dumpsters at that condo.
What if they're not?
Well, if
Well,
they're
this says
not,
the solid
then
waste transfer station facility.
Yes,
Needs to read
and-
This.
Mhm.
if that's the other reason for going to the placard, if the property owner wants to leave their placard, the person can hang the placard and use the facility.
But yes, it's a wording issue.
It's a
again.
wording
Yeah.
issue.
Transient guests.
The transient guests are,
Overnight.
You'll
Oh,
clean that up.
yes, and the transient guests are the biggest issue with allowing people to come in. They are here, we know they are. It's how do we identify them to prevent what we know was happening with folks coming from other communities to use our transfer
So
station.
there are overnight
So-
guests.
But now there are
Another-
overnight, yes.
Yeah,
Right,
you can say just guest stop. The first two categories might make it
Sure.
more clear.
We'll-
Residents,
we'll
property
figure out.
owners, and guests of.
What I'm taking
Something
away
like
from
that.
this is we're gonna redo the formatting before we adopt it
Yes,
and
that would help.
republish it.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Anything else, Patty?
That's
on?
all I have.
Anybody else have any comments on the MSW regulation?
Well, then
We
Patty
write-
do all the active heavy lifting.
Thank you, Patty.
Yeah. So if there are no other comments, I will close the public hearing and I will then open to the board. Any further comments you'd like to make about these regulations? Thank you very much, Patty. I think it'd be very helpful to redo the formatting. Absolutely. Make it a little bit more clear. I think we know what needs to be done. I don't think we have to
Well, before you adopt it, we'll get the
Yeah.
rework
Yeah, I was
done and
gonna say,
bring it
I-
in at a future.
and then
meeting.
let's look at it at a
Mhm.
meeting, but I don't think we need to have another public hearing necessarily. Just make
No.
it part of,
Well, I don't agree with that.
no, make it part of our regular meeting as opposed to a public hearing. Those are two different things.
It'll still be talked about publicly and
We'll still welcome comment.
yeah,
It'll be part of a regular hearing with this
regular board meeting.
regular board meeting. So it's just a bureaucratic thing.
It'll be on the agenda.
Yeah, but it'll be the adoption of the revised MSW regulations. And which we will discuss based on some of the changes or all of the recommendations that Patty made.
It'll be under old business
Right,
for a future board meeting. Is that okay with the board?
I think that's a simple way to do it, right, rather than stringing it along. And we take more comments and then either make
Sure.
changes or just have the vote.
Yep.
Does anyone from board have anything more to say about? All right, we're good with that path forward.
And just to clarify, if there are issues that come up, this can be adopted. It's not set in stone.
No, it
for
can
a
be
certain period
amended.
of time.
You
No, this is a
amend it whenever you
regulation,
want.
so as long as our
Exactly.
changes comport with the ordinances, we can
Right,
do them.
right, just,
Doesn't require town meeting or anything like that.
exactly, right.
Okay, I think therefore, we are done with MSW regulations, so let's go back. Let's get this calendar,
Yep.
calendar review out of the way. So our the next planning board meeting is 8 AM here on 8 August. Our next regular select board meeting is 3 PM here on 7 August. And we also have one scheduled for 21 August. That is a select board meeting, also at 3 PM. Everyone good with that?
Yep.
All right, so we were going through, let's see, I think we got through all the new business. I think we got,
Do you want to go back to privilege of the floor? I think a couple more people came in.
yeah, I was gonna do that before board concerns and directions, but we can do it now. Because we still have to do the Cascade Ridge Road project update. But we can do a privilege of the floor now, if you'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody, so privilege of the floor number 2?
Just,
Hey, Tom.
just an update on the Moose Run project. We've finished reconstructing the rock wall that was holding up the road
Oh, okay.
and installed considerably new piping and drainage. That should be hold us for quite a while.
Okay.
And we're taking there's a ditch on the other side of the road that keeps filling up with debris. So we re-engineered that to be all stone pipe, stone on top, so it won't get clogged.
Mhm.
I mentioned one thing that I was talking to Mr. Sununu about. He's anxious to have the cross-country trail or the Nordic Trail from Golden Heights to the intersection that moves into the forest. He wants to elevate it and level it out. So, yeah, since I've been working with Dana, he asked me to get Dana to look at it, so. It's simply a function of adding more dirt to a slope.
Where exactly, is that the one behind, is that,
No, it's right on the road.
oh, you're talking the roadside, the one that's called roadside,
one. It's,
okay,
it's,
right.
the level is bothering them. As long as we've got the people around, they want to fix that. So we'll see what the bid comes back from Dana to get that done. And
Is that a town cost or your cost?
that's
Or we haven't figured it out yet?
that's not a town cost.
No, and it's an easement holder.
It's not a town cost, and it's not necessarily all of Moose Run cost. We have something else going on.
It's the easement, it's the easement holder who wants to make a change, right?
Easement, I'm just let you know he wants to make a change.
Mhm.
and-
Yeah, so.
Sure.
and, it's not gonna be that difficult to do and it'll probably get done.
Mhm.
The other thing is, thank you, Megan, we've got an agreement on when we'll get the dishes taken care of. You're pretty busy on Cascade Road, so you can, deal with that in August. That's okay with us. That's all I have.
All right, anybody else? Thank you, Tom. For the record, that was Tom Myrick of Moose Run. Anybody else have anything for privilege of the floor?
I have one.
Hi, Patty.
Just personal comment about the holiday lights.
Mhm.
I don't think it's worth spending $6,000 to light the whole side of the ice arena. Maybe it can be
We-
done cheaper.
we
doing
agree.
that part of it, Something.
We
That's my-
won't be.
Yeah, no, we've had that discussion. Matter of fact, I don't know, Brooke, were you gonna talk about the holiday lights in your update?
I wasn't,
Okay, but
but we are not paying for that.
no, we decided at a previous meeting to,
Okay.
But
Just-
it will be done. It's the resort association will pay for it.
The total town cost of the lights we're doing, including the match, is I believe right around $3,500.
Right. we had an upper limit of 5 plus 2 with the match, as I recall.
Yes, and it ended up being less. because of
35,
the-
right.
The way the hockey. That with the WBRA taking that.
And there was an extra match too, right?
Yeah,
That we could
yep.
use, so
Okay,
the resort association's providing a fair amount of funding.
yeah, we thought that was a lot of money for those lights, so we
Yeah.
decided not to do them a while back. Okay, anybody else for privilege of the floor, number 2? Okay, then why don't we move to, let's do the Cascade Ridge Road project, just to get that out of the way, then we'll move to the
Yeah,
rest of
it's,
the
it's in
departments.
it's in that stapled packet
There's a
that
staple.
I have for you.
Yeah, behind.
Yeah,
you,
that was on
revenues.
your,
I
yeah,
probably-
here's another one.
Oh, thank you, yeah.
You have yours, Bob. There's a packet right there
It's
with the
behind-
revenues.
Behind the revenues.
Look at the revenues and then.
Oh, it's
the
staple to,
page.
staple to the revenue.
Yeah, it's the second page of the revenue.
Update wise with the weather we've been having, we're looking at,
Or these numbers.
end of
Okay.
next
Yeah.
week. To be done with our portion, and then we are
So she
still
updated
on the
those.
schedule with Porter, which at the end. Not the end of next week, which
If
is
they're
the
last.
2nd of August, but the next week.
You get the revenues.
we are
This is good.
scheduled.
I'm sorry, man, we're just trying to get the right paper in front of us.
These numbers are what she's.
Okay, let's hit the reset on that
Absolutely.
and rewind and go.
So with the weather we've been having, we're looking mid to end next week for our portion to be done. We are on the docket for the first full week of August for Porter Paving to come in and pave the road. So it will be all completed, by mid-August. Originally, we did have, one of the pieces of equipment that we have for demo, which would be the roller. It was agreed upon for 1 week, but, it was felt that we needed it sooner. A little bit longer than a week, looking at more like 2 weeks. So the price that you have in there is for a month.
The 4,500.
Yeah, so, but, if we can get it in before, return it to them beforehand, it will not be the $4,500. Which we're looking at around a week and a half of having the piece of equipment, so it should only be max 15
So
hours.
that's really the, the primary reason for the overage, right?
That's the majority.
Because I think we thought of
30,000.
30,000 and this is 36, but 4,500 of that 36 potentially of that overage is because
The roller.
we ended up needing to rent the roller as opposed to having it free for a week.
Yes. and
That's essentially
the-
it. Okay.
The end of the free week is in technically morning of Friday, so. We still have time if they finish it tomorrow, which is not likely, but if they were to, they're working pretty late nights right now until about 7, trying to get it done, quicker with all of the weather we've been having, so.
So right now, the pipe connection return will be in effect, so that will lower the price to the 34,967, 3,500.
35, but potentially less if the roller comes
And then
in.
less if the roller comes
Yeah.
in.
Okay. Comments from the board?
You good to
Alright.
get it done?
Yep.
I just wanna put it on the record there that, we did put out some grade stakes. Close to some people's driveways that we're cutting into. I just wanted to let people know that we will be cutting in driveways, so it will get put back. Just letting people know.
Have you alerted the specific owners?
Congratulations to the department for doing that work
Yeah.
in-house. It saved a lot of money.
Saved a lot.
Very good, yeah.
Doing very well.
And as project goes, this isn't really much of an overage. It's,
Exactly.
all things considered. Okay, if no one has anything else on this particular project, let's move on to department head updates. Megan, why don't we stick with you? You have the floor.
So. Been working with FEMA quite a bit, trying to get, everything deadline wise in order. They are doing it broken up. You'll see the project names there. They are breaking it up into specific projects, which we already have one, allocated in there, which is the breeze removal. So we may actually see that, within the next 2 months, the 17,627.40. We should actually see that within the coming months, and I'm working on other ones as we speak. But this piece of paper here, what we've spent to date, is the spent section there, not including the boxed sections, but from Pond Dam up to Water Well 3, that's what we've spent to date, which is the $145,000. You'll see in town share what we're not expecting to get back, our portion to FEMA, the federal share, and then in the mitigation column that you have, that is things that we're looking at to mitigate any future damages. And that's what that number is on top of it. So if you come down to total spent to date, total claimed, which includes the Valley Road culvert and Triple I Road. That's that number that we are sending over to FEMA, so this will be our total claimed with FEMA.
That's $659,000. This is from the damages in December of last year.
And then, so our total town share overall will be roughly 165,000. And then the total federal share is 495,000. And then we will also get on top of that the federal mitigation share as well, which is almost 300,000. So our total potential reimbursement, that being said, as long as the mitigation that we choose is approved and everything like that through them, we're looking at roughly $794,000 in reimbursement.
Board have any questions?
Yeah, wait a minute.
There are a lot of numbers.
Yeah, for the mitigation share, so that you just established weak, or you found points that are weak that need to be shored up, or like, how did you?
So mitigation is anything that could possibly prevent the damages from happening again.
Right,
So like in the cemetery, on the inlet section of the culvert, we added a header, natural header.
Sure.
So that was a mitigation cost. Even though it was natural stone that we had, it was still a mitigation cost. So we're getting that money is there for that as well. So it's just anything approved by them is 75%.
sure,
I did 50% just in case it's not all approved, but
okay.
75% of the, cost that we've spent, and we do not have to spend an extra 25% or anything like that.
Yeah, there's not another match.
Oh,
The
okay.
original
Just-
25%
Mhm.
match counts towards the mitigation
As
cost
well.
as well
Okay.
as the repair costs. And that's why the reimbursement can be higher than the total damages claimed
Because of the
Okay.
because of the
mitigation.
mitigation.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
And just, I know, I'm sorry that you don't have these numbers. We're just putting them together as we go. But the damages that occurred during the flooding in December, there were significant pieces of Triple I Road and other roads around town. So FEMA has come in, they've sent a team in several times.
Mhm.
Megan's gone around with them, they've identified all the spots. And we have been writing down every single expense that we occurred in correcting those things.
Mhm.
One of the ones was, and this is almost over half of the numbers that we're talking about, was the culvert on Valley Road, where the underpass is by the athletic center.
You'll see a
And-
barrel.
And so there's a barrel out there right now. We have a sinkhole that's been developing. That alone is $400,000. But the good news is they give us 75% of that estimated cost, the actual cost of repairing. But then they will give us money so that we can upgrade the size of the culvert and take other steps in mitigation so that we can recoup actually everything that it'll cost to make the repairs. So even our share, because we're taking additional steps in mitigation, they give us funding for that. So it's that's gonna be, but that's something that we'll do next summer probably on Valley Road to get that new culvert installed. So just wanna throw it out there and,
So are we satisfied with what FEMA has come back?
oh,
with?
very much so.
Okay.
They've been very supportive. They've been working, with Megan and very fair in their assessment of the costs. Yeah, they have not questioned much of what we've
Yeah.
submitted.
They try and get us even more money.
And I
than
do
what we
want,
asked
I
for.
do wanna really say that the mitigation side of this, and I think FEMA's doing this throughout the state and in Vermont as well. They're trying to improve a lot of these facilities or this infrastructure so that we don't continue to have damages down the road. So, I think overall it's gonna be,
Mhm.
it's gonna be good. But I just wanna thank Megan. She's a bulldog when it comes into staying on FEMA and making them
Shake the money.
listen to what we need to have repairs. No, it's not a shakedown. Well, okay.
We don't
it's
call it
just
that.
a little bit.
Bob, did you have anything you'd like to?
Well, I'm trying to do some adding in my head to see how, without seeing subtotals.
Mhm. We'll work
It's
on this sheet.
It's a little
for
bit
you.
hard to see how,
And this sheet's gonna change as we go through the process as well,
okay,
but I will total them up for you.
Yeah, we
Give
can,
you
we can
subtotals.
discuss it under old business again
Mhm.
at the.
Yep.
At our next meeting. You
Okay.
want a little bit more detail on the breakdown?
or just, the subtotals with
Yeah.
for each section.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Anything else? Bob, Wendy? Alrighty. Anything else on the department you'd like to update us about?
Not currently, we're still plugging away at Cascade. Manchester, though, was gracious enough to lend us a 6-wheel truck. If you've seen it driving around, it's bright orange.
5-ton.
Yeah, I was wondering who that was. It's us.
It's
It
us.
is us.
Okay.
So, we don't have a set timeline of return for that. All their trucks sit around, they said that we're able to use it for what we need for how long.
Yeah, it's a mutual aid program, just like the fire mutual aid between public works departments in the state. So thank you to the Manchester DPW.
Yeah.
That is us, just, you know, in case.
Yeah,
It
okay.
says Manchester on the side, in case anybody says anything, it is us. Did talk with Pat, Patrick Horsey, Piper, a bit ago. He's just waiting on the delivery date for our culvert, the box culvert off of Tecumseh.
Mhm.
As soon as he gets that, he'll call us back. He's working on the numbers for Jennings Peak as we speak, so hopefully we'll have that within the next 2 weeks.
But not the culvert.
Not the culvert.
Just
Not the
just the date, which we think is gonna
We're
be quite,
still looking at mid-September
Yeah.
to late September for their start.
They're anxious to get back on.
Yeah, they want-
so they're gonna do both projects
Simultaneously.
simultaneously, Jennings and
Tecumseh.
the entry into Tecumseh. Makes a lot of sense. Assuming all the deliveries are made.
Mhm.
That's
Okay,
all I have.
right, any questions for DPW?
Hmm.
Brooke, hello, you have time to come see us,
Over there.
I imagine.
Camp is going well. It feels great to be for the whole rec department fully staffed. I don't know if people saw it, but last Thursday, we had our second annual rec roundup where we invite several other rec departments to come have a big day. We do different stations and we had over 165 kids participate with Thornton, Campton, and Plymouth and Holderness rec departments. So that was really fun and successful, and we learned a little bit each year, and we have the best venue for that, so we'll probably continue to do that. It's sort of some field games and swimming and things like that on Packard, and then we head to rec department. Last year we did a magician. This year we had this woman that does these basketball tricks. Very fun.
Okay,
How many kids? total?
165 kids.
Awesome.
So, and it's just a great experience for the kids and the. I've organized with the help of WVRA, a couple of laser shows. I'm not sure if I brought this up to the select board yet, but we are doing that on August 10th. 2 shows, one at 9 o'clock, one at 9:30. And that's a big ordeal. So hopefully that goes well for our first annual. We're testing it out. The lights, which we've touched on a little bit, that will come to you in sort of more of a package. Once we've got everyone finalized, I'll bring to the board here, plans for that, for the holiday lights. But like Wendy said, the WVRA is really putting a lot into this in terms of matching funds so that the lodges are able to, light up their lodge and businesses as well. We did put a van on order through Ford Transit. We were able to build it ourselves, and we are waiting to hear. We put the order in, and so we're just waiting to hear if that's going to get in on the 24 order or the 25 order. So got our fingers crossed for the 24 order.
Yeah, and I will work with Department of Revenue Administration if we end up being a 25 order. As far as what happens to that warrant article for the lease. We'll either
have to
void that and then
redo it,
maybe
or if
redo
we
it
have a
or
contract,
whatever.
maybe that covers it.
Yes, right. So I'm gonna work with them, but
Okay.
it does not look like we're gonna take delivery.
We don't know.
We might. We
Yes,
might,
we
but
don't know.
if we take
Hopefully-
delivery before December 31st, we will have a lease
Right,
and we will be done within this year. But
Yeah.
because
Okay.
the price that we have agreed to is within the budget that was approved.
Van and a potential vehicle for us, but each one of those situations did not work out, so that's why the order did not go into.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's an agenda item, but we were able to raise
Yeah,
715.
we
we
They
approved
approved
it,
it.
done.
They approved
Great.
Yep.
Oh, that's exciting.
Mhm.
I will pass on the good news to
Yeah.
Kathy. Crane of that fund. And then National Night Out, I'm gonna let Dave go with that. I'll just say a little bit, which is, we've been really successful, especially in Waterville Valley, in terms of, raising sponsors for this great event. There are other towns doing sponsorships as well. But just our personnel, I think, has been a little bit more on top of that, so, Dave will fill in. There's lots more to say about that, but I'm just telling you. And then the You Gotta Regatta is coming up. It's on August 3rd. I'm sure you all know about that, but that is the boat building day, on the beach, where people can build their cardboard boats out of cardboard and duct tape only, and set sail on the pond. And I do think that that's all I have.
Your numbers are in
numbers, I'm
the,
sorry. Yes.
numbers are very good.
Yep.
Do you want me to?
Please do, I did not bring.
Yep. So, year-to-date totals, we are down slightly, through week 5. We're down 274 camper days from last year, but if you remember, we smashed all kinds of records last year with the total camper days. It was our record-setting year, so, compared to the 14-year average through week 5, we are ahead 267 camper days. So above average, just not record setting.
And I would like to just add to that is another major reason that that's the number this year is that we discontinued our summit program in its traditional form. Because we're paying out in expenses and staffing way more than what was coming in. So we decided to, get rid of that and do sort of some one-day trips, which haven't been successful this year. But anyway, so even though the numbers aren't there, we are also not making the expenditures on the activities and the
Right.
staff for that program.
Any questions for Rep?
Which is sense in the boat rentals after, last year was a rainy year and we moved to the new
Yeah.
location and.
Yeah, and so I did want to address that. Wendy did ask me to put together a comparison sheet. Honestly, I just have not had the time to do it, but I did pull a couple of numbers just to give us a sense of the holidays, which you had talked about. So in terms of this year for Memorial Day weekend, we are up 70% from last year, so that's good. But we're also up 15% from 2022. So that's for the Memorial Day weekend. I think last year, some rain was involved, so that's why it was such a huge jump from last year. I mean, the entire summer, but
Yeah.
I'm just speaking to these
Particular holiday.
this weekend. And then the July 4th weekend, we are up 48% from last year, and then we are actually down 70% from 22. Sometimes that has to do with the way that the 4th falls, and so
Yeah.
it's a longer vacation period to draw from. But I just wanted to give you those numbers and let you know that I am working on
Yeah.
a better comparison sheet that you can.
It would take a second order analysis to really
Yeah.
dig down.
It is.
We
it's
gotta
tough
go
because
back
there's
a
so
couple
much,
of
there's so
years.
many
Yeah.
variables with how the weekends
Right.
fall and blah,
That's
blah,
what I
blah,
meant,
the
right.
weather. But overall, I am projecting right now that we are, our revenues are up, not at the waterfront, but overall for the rec department between $3,000 and $4,000 year to date, so. That's what I'm showing right now.
And there was a question before you guys, everyone came in about the budget side of it, and we'll get together when you're back and
Okay,
we'll go through them. Just the different parks and recreation budgets year to date in
okay,
comparison to prior years for the next meeting or the second meeting in August.
because of something.
Well, no, the percentages, just when you compare it to the 49% that we are through the year,
Mhm.
they're still showing that, so
Okay.
we'll get together with those.
Anything else for Rec? Good afternoon, David. Everything under control in town?
How's everything going?
Good. You tell me.
It's actually been, pretty good, so, calls just have been kind of steady, but nothing out of the ordinary as far as police calls, fire and EMS stuff going on. we've been doing a lot of in-house stuff, a lot of, you know, there's the small improvements to the base. Moving a lot of the maps and plans that we had and getting a little bit more office space for all of us to work with. So we've had a lot of the staff doing that, which has been very nice. We did, I noted in my report that we did take delivery of the SCBA fill station that was installed a couple weeks ago, so we're pretty excited to have that up and running, so now we can actually train on those new air packs and refill the bottles, so that's really a good thing. The Bears seem to be a little active within the last couple weeks. This last week, they had a sick one over the weekend that looked like it probably got into one of the dumpsters with some of the wedding trash, lobster tails, that sort of thing, and was pretty sick and lethargic. We had fishing game come up and kind of do an assessment, and our guys managed to mosey it along. It was hanging out in my village and in town. It looked like it wasn't doing well. So we suspect it probably got into something that it probably shouldn't have. So we're just cautionary that the Bears are around. If you do notice them, feel free to call us. We do have a bear program here on how to handle bears, nuisance bears, and trying to mitigate them with the interface with the townspeople and urging them back into the forest. But with more activity around town, the dumpsters always seem to be a pretty good draw for them. We met with the FBI Joint Terrorism Training Task Force last week. They want to come up here in September and do a training up on the mountain on September 12th. They met with the mountain, working it out with the Forest Service. We're going to have our department will have some role into the training, but the majority of the hands-on training will be those guys. We'll just integrate and probably more or less of a tabletop type exercise. So if there was something happening on the mountain that these guys had to work.
So who is it? What department?
The FBI.
Oh.
Out of Boston. So they pick, different places around New England and then present a problem and have their guys try to figure out, okay, if this is what was happening here, how would you figure that out? So that's one of those types of training. And I think one of those is if there was something happening on the mountain, how would they get there? How would they get their equipment there? How would they try to mitigate that? So.
But there may be activity associated with that people are gonna
Can
see.
see, yeah.
Correct, and we'll have signage up, we'll be up there, so if there is any questions, there should be no disruption of public access or service other than perhaps some of the buildings. But this time of year,
But up at the mountain.
Mhm. This time of year, there should be no access to those buildings anyway, so, but it shouldn't affect any of the public, other than you may see a few blacked out pickup trucks and that sort of thing up there.
Maybe aircraft.
There may be some aircraft, there may be a helicopter or airplane involved, but it won't be any different from the type of air traffic that we typically see around here, so. Other than that, we did get our third time, like I said, third time's a charm.
Mhm.
We did.
They
They
accepted it.
They did,
They did.
okay,
Congratulations
Yeah.
on that.
thank you.
It's
So,
always willing to take money.
95.5 grant, yes,
Yes.
that's always a good thing.
yes.
Great.
So we'll be
Excellent.
working with our vendor now that it's been accepted. We'll get that stuff on ordered and get that grant taken care of.
Save the town $70,000.
Yeah.
71,393.
350.
Good.
But who's counting? Other than that, I did write that article we spoke about, I think in the last meeting about the hydrant colors.
Yeah, I noticed them.
I submitted it. I'm sure there'd be questions, but hopefully the article will answer everybody's questions that they may have. But other than that, National Night Out is going very well. Brooke is right that we've had an overwhelming response from the businesses in Waterville Valley this year for donating. Because we've asked, we've kind of expanded to Plymouth and Ashland. We've kind of bumped up the number of activities and things that we're doing at National Night Out. So again, just for everybody who's listening, Tuesday night, August 6th, we're gonna start at 5 p.m. and go till dusk, and there'll be fireworks. A lot of support from the Owl's Nest, who agreed to do all the cooking and provide also all the burgers for dogs, and we're just providing all the ancillary stuff, the paper plates, chips, and that sort of thing. So that's huge. They also had a hand in half the fireworks, and then the other half was picked up by one of the restaurants and the fireworks company themselves. So which is really great.
In Thornton at the Sugar Shack.
In Thornton, that's the
Same
Sugar
place.
Shack. So you'll see the banners up, and those will stay up, and we're trying to get the word out and distribute flyers and making sure all we have to do now is just hope for good weather. But everything else, we got one more meeting till that, and we'll do a little bit of shopping, but other than that, we're in pretty good shape for that. So.
Okay.
With that, I think, unless you have any questions, I think that's all I have.
No, all right, well, good. Did we want to, you have to leave shortly. Did we want to talk on the board concerns and directives about the Britton land? Was that,
Yeah,
or did you have the,
yeah, I've got a couple of other things, but, so all the department head stuff is done. There's nothing.
unless you have
admin that we
something,
can
admin,
think
anything
of, no.
admin?
No, we've already covered the assessing.
Okay,
That's the biggest thing on that.
okay,
Yeah, so we have your
Yeah.
thing first. First of all, I just want to say that it's, the way you wrote it was exactly what I've seen in other
Okay,
submissions. This is every year, the New Hampshire Municipal Association does a legislative policy day. And they take floor policy amendments from towns. So Wendy has been working on one for the board to consider. We have until August 9th, so we can push it off to the next meeting.
well, no, I just,
Or however you want to do it.
yeah, with what you sent around the updates, what they
Mhm.
already have,
Yeah,
they seem to be looking very regionally, which frustrates me. So I feel like, I wonder if we need to hone this down, because I had not only, so we're asking them to support the prevention and the disposal of municipal solid waste or any other waste generated outside of the state of New Hampshire in New Hampshire landfills. And I feel like perhaps that should be our focus more than, I want to say furthermore, we request they encourage the state to, find ways to better handle disposal well in hand. It's just their regional focus here unnerved me a little bit because
well,
that-
yeah,
Mm.
I agree. I mean, this was very specific to New Hampshire waste being disposed of in New Hampshire, not regional waste
right,
being disposed of in New Hampshire.
right.
And
So,
I think that that's a valid discussion to have with them. It's affecting our costs.
yeah,
It's affecting the use of the landfills, how fast they're filling up. And it's only gonna get worse as we go forward.
Mhm.
Especially given the article that you sent out with the recent.
DES,
Yeah,
yeah.
uh,
all the
steps
leachate.
that
Findings.
DES was
Yeah.
taking with the leachate.
yeah, that's,
leachate.
that's not good.
Did you guys have a chance
Yeah,
to
look
look
good.
at
No,
this?
no,
Do you,
fine.
are you okay
Yeah,
with
yeah.
it?
Yeah,
So if you want to
I-
make any changes and,
So why don't we hold on to it, continue to see if anything comes out of it? And we'll do
Mhm.
the final review at the August 7th
I
meeting.
think it's the
Because
7th.
we have until the close of business on the 9th to submit it.
Okay. Will they continue to update us as they,
Yeah,
Take on
if they
policies.
have anything else that comes out, they would let us.
is there
know.
any benefit to submitting it sooner, just to help? mull
I don't
what-
think no, because
It's a dead,
they take them all
deadline,
in,
yeah.
then they review them with that committee that put together the original positions.
So this original position was from like before they're getting
group,
submissions? for-
Correct,
Okay,
yes.
okay. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds good then.
All right, so we'll put it under old business. for
next time, right,
time.
finish it up,
Okay.
get it to them in time.
All right. Um, yeah, I just, one clarification that came, via text, the aerial rights easement and the village road issue are
Mhm.
two separate things.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the gondola does not require the closure of the road. It just requires the aerial easement. So
Right.
when
Sure.
we're separating those
Right.
out, I
But
just
it would-
want to be
right,
clear.
but it would
They'll
be
be,
required
obviously,
if-
it's the same
Right,
area, but it is not the same
Right.
issue.
Right.
And just so no one is confused.
okay, no, I think we.
In the public.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right, that's all I have. I can go to North Country Council meeting. You have to sign the form, and I'm gonna have Megan come up to my office. She's gonna get the bond
Oh,
documents.
sure.
There are little red tags for your signatures. And if you have any questions, just come and get me, and I'll step
Okay.
out of the meeting. I don't think there was anything else, any questions that you guys had before I,
No,
All right, go
anything
ahead.
else on the agenda that,
well, the Britain,
yeah,
The
we would
Britain
talk, to them, right,
property.
so I'm not sure
I
what,
talked to him and yeah, maybe a special meeting. we
okay,
kind of have not moved forward on it.
right, we've been
Lately,
preoccupied with
we've
other
preoccupied with
things,
other
yeah,
things, so we do need to. We really didn't have anything definitive at the end of the last meeting. There were things that we were all thinking about.
Right.
And I don't want to just let this sit until the 7th if we can.
all right. Well, if we're gonna meet next week, anyway, perhaps we can tack on
Yeah, we can
To that.
put that on to the agenda.
to the agenda, because the way I thought we left it was that we wanted to get more details from David about what precisely what
And I have a
conditions.
couple of, he's
he
come
wanted
in,
to-
he came in
okay.
and saw me today. So we can talk about those things.
And we also need to set up a meeting with Terrell about pond dredging.
Yes, I talked to Tim the week of August 18th. He and Tim and I were gonna sit down and go through what the engineers had said. And then come in the second meeting in August and talk about that
Good,
with the board.
good,
And also James has offered to come in and clarify some of these things about the gondola and Valley Road. And if you want to make it an agenda item
Okay.
and have that discussion as well. So we can add that to the agenda if you want,
okay.
all right?
So, yeah, I think we could just delay the action item list until
Okay,
till
yeah.
the next meeting.
Yeah.
Board concerns and directives, either have any board concerns or directive at this point?
No, I just have the Britton land and the pond dredging.
All right. I think we have those
Oh.
covered.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Megan take you through. We've done a couple of bids for the dump truck and for the old sidewalk tractor.
Mhm.
I'll let, when she comes back down, can she go over those real quick with you? Because it's very good news, especially on the dump
Mhm.
truck bid.
Yeah, well, we
So
have
I'll
no other, we have nothing else on the agenda.
And I'll have her bring that paperwork down.
Okay,
Okay,
Thanks, chief.
Thank you.
all right, but I guess we can now adjourn the meeting.
Well,
Or
no,
do
I
we
really
have to
want
wait?
to look at the bids.
Oh, then we can't, we
The
have to
only
stay,
thing on the bids.
we can't
is-
continue it,
yeah,
okay.
The only thing on the bids is, if you accept any of them, please just make it conditional on the delivery of the new truck. And Megan can.
All right,
We're
we'll sit and wait,
expecting it
all right?
any day,
Okay,
but I don't want to lose these bids. These are awesome bids.
okay,
So,
All right, we'll be here waiting.
I'll rush.
no pressure.
That version.
Go to the bathroom, given the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
I
idea.
just need to get online.
Yeah. You can pause the recording, I guess, if you want to. Otherwise it's just dead tape. All right. But I think I can finish this off while we're waiting, Sharon, the non-public.
Yeah.
I just give it back to you. So others present during the non-public session, I'm gonna put Mark and Sharon until I think it was about 2:15.
I'm sorry, Rich, I was reading a text.
Nope.
It was just
So-
sending me.
Others present during non-public session, you have yourself and Mark, but up until a certain point, so I'll just
Sure,
note,
so you can, you know,
yeah,
remove after
yeah.
or.
So I'll just put up until, I think it was 2:15,
Yeah, let's say, yeah.
okay. And let's see, I got that, have that. The motion to seal the minutes was also. F.
Quickly.
Okay. That's, these are 5, 6 separate bids.
No, that's the stuff he wanted you to sign.
Oh. Oh, for the bond.
Mhm. What you wanna see for these exactly?
Well, I didn't know whether all of these things add up to, this plus this equal this.
Yes.
I don't know how you get to these totals.
Okay, yes. So, oops, sorry. So. These numbers here equal this. These numbers here equal that. And then mitigation is that. But I can make it a little more.
What's that?
So that is the combination of this and this.
Okay, all right. All right,
And this one, we didn't spend anything because it was just cleaning out and it was personnel time,
okay,
so.
all right.
But I can make that a little more clear. and-
So are we getting more back
Yes,
than we're actually spending?
yes. Because of the mitigation.
Cause the mitigation adds like
Mhm,
almost 300.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I assume we are gonna spend that.
Yeah.
No, that's what Mark was trying to explain. So we've already spent our 25%.
Right,
Mitigation is on top of, which is, the max you can get is 75. So I did 50 just to be a little conservative. But since we've already done our 25, this is their 75. Well, this in here is, this is their 50%.